The Big Lerf Podcast, talking LRF and more. Hello and welcome to the Big Lerf Podcast. My name is Ben Bassett. I'm here with Rich Salter.
Hello.
How you doing, mate?
I'm alright, thanks, mate. You okay?
I'm good. And we're recording as a Christmas special.
Yes. What a thing.
Tis the season. And what could be more festive than sitting in a car park, near where you live, recording a podcast?
My thoughts exactly. It's perfect, isn't it?
It is perfect. It really is. So we've just had a pretty nice day, pretty chilled day fishing the Canal.
Yeah.
Canal. And I thought we'd talk into that first before we get into more of the theme of the podcast, because it's always good to cover. So last time we were doing the sort of wrasse fishing, and now we're doing freshwater. So we want to sort of cover how we've gone about today, what we've caught, and really
Sounds like a plan.
yeah. So obviously we've gone to Tiverton Canal. If you want to talk about the Grand Western Canal, it's which is not very grand, really, is it?
Well, I mean, to some it is.
Yeah.
It's grand in its own special way.
It is in its own special way.
Yeah.
I mean, if anyone's used to these, the canals anywhere else in the UK, this one's very small.
Yeah, I guess on the size, width and depth, it's probably one of the least grand canals of all.
It is, yeah.
But it's quite pretty.
It is pretty, yeah. It's very pretty, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's
Lots of wildlife and
lots of wildlife today. I spent most of the day looking at kingfishers, and
You do love a kingfisher, don't you?
I love them. Yeah, my dad loves them. I think that's why I'm really kind of obsessed with them. But they are beautiful.
They are a beautiful bird. Yeah, one of the most beautiful actually. Aren't they?
Yeah, and just nice to see. Obviously, one of the pluses of fishing a beautiful spot like we were today. So it's 11 miles long.
11 miles long. It runs from Tiverton up to just past Burlescombe.
Yeah.
As we were discussing earlier, it used to be joined to the Taunton and Bridgewater canal,
Yes.
isn't it? Or Bridgewater and Taunton.
Yeah.
Many years ago.
Yeah. So it's quite a grand project. It was before. Obviously, now it's like just sitting there as almost like a sort of 11-mile long Stillwater.
Yeah. It's apparently it's quite a feat of engineering to dig that canal without no locks running 11 miles.
Yeah.
I can only imagine the work that went into that, but it's made for a pretty little canal, isn't it?
Very pretty canal and very easy to fish. So obviously it's a day ticket or permit water anyway.
Yeah.
Which is quite cheap, really. What's it?
Yeah, was it £7 for the day?
Yeah, I think it was £6 for the day, and then was it for the year?
I think it was 35 at the most.
Yeah.
Between 30 and 35.
Which is very reasonable.
And it does cover a few other waters as well, so you definitely value for money.
Yeah, that's pretty decent. And you've gone to fish it. It's, as I said, it's quite a small canal. There's a few areas where it is a bit wider and a bit deeper, but most of the time it's like no more than like 6 feet deep, really.
No, if that, isn't it?
If that, yeah. And it doesn't have like the sort of the drop-offs that a lot of canals have, like the ones that are really more functioning as like a working canal.
Yeah, it sort of gently slopes off, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's more of an even depth most of the way through.
Yeah.
Which again sort of gives it a lot of chance to be very finesse. I think it pays to be for a finesse approach, I think.
Yeah, definitely. You're sort of talking generally 2 gram jig heads and things, would you? Yeah.
Well, for me, I was fishing like 0.6 most of the day.
Yeah. I didn't realise quite how light you were fishing actually until.
No, I've always tried to go ultra light, as ultra light as I possibly can in that canal, just because that's been my experience.
Yeah.
Of succeeding there anyway. It's always served me well. It's not got like a big head of big fish, has it? In regards to like perch and pike.
No, it's not known for its big fish. It's known for its it's a well-stocked canal, isn't it?
Very well stocked.
You generally.
It's got so many perch in it.
Yeah, they kept us busy, didn't they?
They did, yes, and that's really nice. It's a great water just to get your confidence up with small lures.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And like you can really practice. We were saying you can get I was laughing with Donnie earlier, who we were fishing with, getting your eye in. He didn't quite understand the term, but. I think it's probably a shooting term, that one, isn't it? But and it's a perfect place for that. You kind of
I've
your
sort
approach.
Of met up with a few people that are just getting into LRF. Sort of it's a good place to sort of put your setup to the test. You're going to get a few bites.
Yeah.
Perch are great for sort of testing this sort of ultralight feel of a rod, aren't they? Because
They really are.
Especially the wasps, sort of.
And there are a lot of wasps.
Yeah.
Obviously, if anyone doesn't know, wasp being a very small perch.
Yeah, it's a bit of a derogatory term, but it's...
For us who like these smaller fish,
stripy little things, they're cute, aren't they?
They are very cute, and they're so pretty in there, because obviously it's mostly clear water, like 90% of the year.
Yeah, today was murkier than I've seen it for a long time, but very often crystal clear. You can see right to the bottom, right across, can't you? So
yeah. So I'm talking of, like, obviously most people listening will want to know, so what's the larger fish that you're going to find in there? I mean, sort of perch-wise, what's the biggest you've seen come out of there?
Personally, I think the biggest one I've had is about £1. I mean, I'm no perch angler, but I've caught them up to like £2.4 in other canals.
Yes.
But I'd say you'd probably catch 1,000 fish under 4 ounces to every fish at a pound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I did see the other day someone did have one at £2.5, which is a very good fish for that canal.
That's a huge fish for that canal.
Yeah.
And pike-wise, obviously they do run up to nearly £20 or so, don't they?
Yeah, you quite often see them up around or just under £20 quite frequently. I think Tom Barron had quite a nice one recently.
Looked like a good fish. And obviously for the first time I ever fished it, I caught 2 pike and 2 casts. One was £6, one was £11, and I've never even come close to that since.
No. Well, you've seen the biggest I've had out of there.
Yeah, that was what, £7?
£7, yeah.
And that looked like, well, to be fair, that looked like a huge fish, to be fair.
I remember it was good. That's a double.
Yeah, it looked like a double, didn't it? But it absolutely was not. Whereas my £11 didn't look like a double at all, but it's so stocky.
Yeah.
Which is strange, isn't
fish,
it?
Yeah.
But it's funny that ever since I've never even come close to landing a fish of that size.
No.
Like even hooking one.
The stamp is what we were seeing today, wasn't it? Like little cucumber size.
Yeah, it's definitely, if you like your cucumber salads, it's it's the place to be, isn't it?
Well, you did have what slightly better one, didn't you?
I did, yeah, an elongated cucumber, definitely. It's like, you did some great photos, make it look a little bit bigger than it actually is. But it was good fun. We had it's strange fishing today because, like quite often I find with canals, you kind of find the patches of fish, or you find sometimes there's a feeding window. Yeah. Whether we found it was the morning, didn't we?
Yeah, very much so, and I think that's quite common.
Quite common, particularly with perch.
Yeah.
And we found, so the morning we were just cleaning up on perch. It was just non-stop, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, obviously we were
showing the occasional little pike,
showing Donnie around the place because he'd never fished there before.
Yes.
So it was nice that we did hit those fish for the first couple of hours of the day, didn't we?
Yeah, that kept the spirits up, because I think the problem is it set the bar a little bit too high.
It did.
As we walked further around, we just couldn't find bites for like long stretches.
No, we did have quite a long barren spell, didn't we?
We did.
But I think between us we caught a lot of fish, didn't we? It was just most of them came early in the morning.
That's it. Yeah, they've. Thankfully, obviously, we did find some fish later on, and we did. It wasn't completely barren. Like you find the bits of structure. The bridges obviously are normally holding like small perch as a guarantee.
I was thinking about where our fish came from.
Yeah.
Like probably 90% came from around the bridges, didn't they?
Yeah. And so, what tactics were you mainly doing today?
I was generally fishing jig heads between 1 gram and 2 grams.
Yes.
Look, I tend to prefer paddle tails, although I was having quite a good bit of fun on the Little Jack Modelism Zako, is it?
Yeah.
So they're quite a cool little...
that inspired me to have for you, to be fair.
Describe those.
How do I describe those? They are like a perfect fish mould. They look like a tiny fish, like a little sprat imitation. It's probably like 1 inch long.
Little fork tail.
Very minimal movement. They're not like a high energy lure. They're very...
Yeah, I was kind of picturing it, sort of fishing it very slow, but just sort of flapping around on the deck almost.
Yes.
Sort of dying minnow style sort of thing.
That's the best way to describe it. If anyone's ever seen like the dying minnows from like Savage Gear and that sort of stuff, it's like a tiny version of that.
Yeah.
Maybe a little less movement, but they're such a perfect mould, and you don't need a lot of movement at that size.
No.
So, you pick up a lot of species on that. You've done really well on that this year.
I have. I've done, found quite a few species in the salt.
Yes.
And now, obviously, it translated well to the fresh. But yeah, I've really enjoyed using that lure this year. Need to play around with that a bit more, I think.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with it, and I haven't used it probably as much as I'd like to. I don't know if I found the moment to do it, but today I had a few fish on it, and I really enjoyed myself. It was that's good. But then it's kind of the good thing about the fishing with the canal is like you you do find yourself using a lot of lures that you maybe don't always pick up, or try different things. I definitely was trying that. I was tried out the though I have been using them a lot, the G-Crack Bellows Gill 2-inch, and because I thought that might look like a dying it's got like a perfect sort of fish imitation on its side sort of thing, looks like, or something similar to that. And I was fishing that through, and the only perch I caught on that was a tiny one, absolutely tiny.
It really did stuff the whole thing in his mouth.
Incredible, yeah. You just can't. With some of these, I mean, it's just like earlier when I put on a bigger Easy Shiner. That's when I had more perch doing that than I had like all the way run before with a smaller lure. You know.
What was your most effective lure today then?
Madwag Mini in natural pink. So that's my one I've been using for flounder as well.
You've done well with that, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. Actually, since we last spoke, that's why I had a nice flounder on that in the harbour on a free rig.
Yeah.
Which obviously has been shared on social media. I was really happy with that one. Very satisfying. I think it's always, as much as I love sight fishing for them, I really do. There is something really satisfying about catching flounder. Just we set out with a technique, and you hope it's going to be the one that works, and it does work on the night. You know.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Very, very satisfying.
It sounded like it was a tough night's fishing as well. So.
It was. Yeah, bites were very few and far between. It was tricky, and I did see one flounder who wasn't really interested, and then got to get that bite was really satisfying.
Yeah, well earned.
Yeah, and those evenings when you're going out after work and it's kind of like your only maybe fishing trip that week, there's a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah.
And like, I'm always trying to do different things, use different lures and stuff, but then also sometimes I'm thinking, God, I really just wish I was just like scratching around with a bit of ice or something.
I think that's where we differ sometimes. I'm generally quite happy to fish for a bite, and use what I know, stick to what I know, whereas you're more experimental, I would say. And,
I do try to be. I guess I get my satisfaction in LRF. I guess when you've been doing obviously something for so long, and obviously we have now with LRF, I think you get your kicks in different ways, don't you? And that's I guess the thing that keeps me interested is just trying different ways to catch
absolutely
fish, especially in places that I know very well, like the harbour in Plymouth or something like that. It's I'm constantly thinking about different ways I can approach that. And just adds to your repertoire, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. But I had a lot of success doing that.
Yeah, and then so back to the Canal with the Madwag Mini. Yeah, I really love that lure. It's just so satisfying to catch on that. I caught loads of perch on that. They were picking it up off the deck. They were doing it was a mad sort of like half an hour or so with that one.
Yeah.
And then I experimented a bit with some hard lures. But then nothing was really. I felt I couldn't fish those as effectively. There was lots of debris.
Yeah.
And obviously when you've got like
when
you've got like a couple of trebles and stuff, it's just makes you a lot more nervous about it. And
of course.
You're going to pick up a lot more debris, sticks, leaves, things like that.
Yeah, it's tricky.
And then, so mainly really I was using the 0.6 gram Agi Killer Magbite jig head with whatever soft plastic I kind of fancied at the time, really, which was Easy Shiners, Madwag Minis, Bellows Gill. That were the main ones, I think.
Yeah. Nice combo. Nice mix.
Yeah, it was good fun, really. But and then later on, I borrowed a 3.5 inch Easy Shiner in Wakasagi from you.
Yeah.
Just for the end, just to try and pick out maybe one like the bigger perch or pike.
Yeah.
It's just how I had my best perch, which wasn't a particularly big one, but and there was loads of perch trying to hit that. Like, it's crazy how ambitious they are.
Ridiculously ambitious, aren't they?
Really ambitious. Yeah, it's fantastic. Really enjoyed that sort of end to things. So we didn't really fish for that long today.
No,
because you don't have a lot of daylight.
No, it soon passes you by, doesn't it? And I think you spend quite a bit of time walking.
Yeah.
And before you know it, it's getting dark, isn't it?
It is, yeah. But still, it was really good fun, and I'm glad we did it. And I spent some time with Donnie as well.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Definitely. Anything else to take away from that sort of?
No, it was a classic
Tivy sesh.
Tivy sesh, lots of little perch, a few little cucumbers.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't mention the biggest pike I got, which was not a big pike, was on the Magbite bladed jig head with the clear glitter 2-inch Easy Shiner.
It just looked nice. That
nice combo. Yeah. It's sort of combo I'd be throwing around for bass in the salt.
Yeah.
For like schoolie bass, that sort of thing. That's the I wanted something with a little bit more flash on it.
A bit more bling.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of anything else to say on that Canal. what's your biggest fish out of the canal? So your biggest pike is £7.
£7. Perch probably about £1. I didn't weigh it.
Yeah.
But
you've had like other silvers and stuff like that out there.
Roach, rudd,
all
small
on lures,
bream,
obviously. Yeah.
all on lures. Yeah. There are lots of tension there, but I think Tivy Canal's known for its big rudd. Actually, you see the bait guys catching some really big ones. So it'd be nice to sort of maybe give those a go in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, nice big rudd. They're beautiful fish.
Yeah, they are, and they're quite aggressive.
Did you see all the little fry to around today? I saw loads today.
I didn't see much really, but
No.
you know what my
Yeah,
eyesight is like.
I'm asking the wrong person. But
I did hear you saying that there was a fair bit of fry.
I'm really surprised to see that much fry. Like I assume they're very, very small sunbleak.
Oh, they were that small, were they?
They were tiny. Yeah, like it was. I was speaking to Donnie. It's unusual to see that sort of level of fry numbers at this time of year.
Yeah,
they would have grown on a little bit by then.
Yeah, you would.
But maybe sunbleak. Yeah, maybe they spawn a couple of times in a year, or
perhaps they are. I mean, they are successful, aren't they? As an invasive species. So.
But to be fair, it's a lot of perch food.
Yeah, we were saying it's sort of surprised that they're not perhaps bigger in there, weren't we? But
yeah,
maybe that's just because
it is just so shallow in places. Canal. Yeah, I mean, it's a sort of canal that you could, in some places, you feel like you could jump across or walk across.
Yeah, true.
You know, and I've been there when it's very, very clear, and it just feels like where are the fish because you can't see anything.
It's amazing how they hide out of the way, isn't it?
But they are there.
Yeah, they're in there.
Definitely. So yeah, if you're obviously never fished it before, it's a really good canal to have a go at for like nice easy fishing. Nothing, you're not going to get your personal best there, but it's quite fun.
Not likely, no. But yeah, like you say, it's fun, isn't it? And good, probably as productive in terms of numbers as anywhere really, isn't it?
I would say so. Yeah. Probably more, yeah. Then, I mean, the nearest one we've got to is probably Exeter Canal and Taunton Canal. They're the two. And
they're a lot harder.
They are harder, yeah. Bigger fish, but harder canals to fish.
Yeah.
So, obviously, we've moving on to the sort of more Christmas themed, on Winter League theme. Obviously, we're recording this just as we're about to go on to the 1st of December, which is the kickoff of the Winter League.
It's imminent.
Yep, so that's the next 3 months of our life. Yeah. Just sorted out. So I thought I'd reach out to the group and ask some questions, just as just to get us a bit of a flavour for the upcoming Winter League. And so I thought I'd go through these. So I've got some comments here. So we're going to ask some questions, and we're just going to do our best to answer these.
Right, let's have a go then. Yeah.
So we'll start off with Gary Parkins. So Gary Parkins asks, would you ever consider doing a beginners category in the winter comp for people that are new to the sport, or maybe adding a spring big weekender comp? So that's two quite big things there.
Yeah.
So start off with that, the beginners category. I think that's a really hard thing to do, isn't it? How do you prove someone's a beginner?
Yeah, I think the only way you do that is how the Angling Trust have done theirs. So based on the previous year's results, they have an elite league of 20, I think it is. So those guys battle it out in the following year in the elite league.
God, that sounds like work, doesn't it?
It does. It complicates things a bit. I mean, it's a great fair play to them for working out that system.
Yeah.
But I think for us, that might be just complicating things too much.
Yeah, I guess if we were... Yeah, it's a hard thing for us because obviously, like we said before, it is just the two of us doing our best to make sure these run nice and smoothly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of variables already.
There is.
It would be nice to do some sort of seeding system.
It would make it interesting, wouldn't it? I think we do sort of try and put on a few categories to try and give people various different chances to go for a prize if they want.
Yes.
You know, that sort of challenge. But I mean, the main thing is that it's just a bit of fun, isn't it? Sort of. Exactly. Perhaps try and beat your tally from last year, or. Yeah, I think that's what my biggest thing I would say is that, you know, for anybody who's just like, maybe not going to challenge the people who can fish like all the time and really push it. Just try and beat your tally from last year, or try and set a really high one for this year, because for next year then you can try and beat that then. Yeah, go for the species you didn't manage last time, or you know, just. It's all these little things you can find challenges with, or just go for things like we've got the unscented challenge going on. That's quite open. It is, yeah. That's. We've got King of the North, obviously, for the Northerners as well, and like. There's lots of things you can try and do, you know. But yeah, so at the moment, no. But obviously it's a reasonable question, and something we may put forward in future comps, who knows. Yeah. Would we add a spring big weekender comp? I think we're pretty maxed out in
Yeah.
terms of how our time's taken up with Big Lerf events as it is, isn't it? Like after the Winter League, the fundraiser sort of organisation comes around all too quickly, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
To the point where we've cut off a month for this year's Winter League to give ourselves a bit of a breather.
Yeah, so it's very, very unlikely. I think there's have to be major changes in both our lives for that to happen.
Yeah.
And a real desire to do that to ourselves. But I mean, there's always a chance that we may put something on that wouldn't be maybe a regular thing. I mean, there's potential coming up for us testing some technology for future events. So we may run over a weekend or something.
Yeah.
There's no plans to put in a regular event for the spring. Also because it's really hard fishing in the spring.
Yeah, slow times, isn't it?
Yeah, in comparison,
Yeah.
I think a spring league would be harder than the winter league.
I agree. I think when the Winter League finishes is when the fishing gets, hardest.
Certainly in the salt.
Sort of, March, April, May is probably the bleakest 3 months of the year.
We've always said that,
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly in our experience. So yeah, thanks, Gary. Good questions.
Yeah.
Carl Aldridge says, what about the potential of the Big Lerf guide days or half days? I know I'd be happy to part with cash for the information and knowledge gained by guidance from Isom Jedis. It's a very, very generous and kind thing for Carl to say there.
Yeah.
I think obviously there's no plans for us to charge for our services.
No, I don't think I'd be comfortable with charging anyone.
No, we've tried as much as possible to. We've talked about it. So it's a hard guiding is a very difficult thing. I don't know how much money there'd be in LRF guiding anyway. I always joked about being a Goby guide.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think there's a lot of money in it. And also, as we've talked about, there's certainly a lot of ego involved in putting together a bit.
Calling yourself an LRF guide.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's probably not some position that we really want to put ourselves in quite yet. But hopefully, in a lot of ways, we have helped people with the podcast or with the blogs, your videos. Yeah, hopefully that's our way of guiding people.
Yeah, we're always happy to give advice, aren't we? And we meet plenty of people out and about on the coast through the year. That we're always happy to help or point in the right direction if we can, aren't we? And there's a lot of guys out there now that know what they're doing. That
a lot of people,
are helping a lot of people out, aren't they? So
yeah, as we've always said, the LRFC. I think that's probably the main thing as well that which stops the old Goby guide sort of thing happening, because everyone's so generous with their knowledge.
Yeah,
the LRF scene. It's not it's not gatekeeper.
No, definitely not.
It's very much open, and so really that information is freely available if you really look for it.
Yeah, I think a few guys have posted on the group asking for a bit of help, and they've ended up meeting up with some of our regulars and learned the ropes that way, haven't they?
Yeah, and
gone on to be.
But yeah, so but Cardiff, obviously, if you want to pay us hundreds of thousands of pounds, that's cool. Yeah, I don't think you do. But yeah, thanks for the question.
Yeah.
Tristan Park, he asks, what species that have been registered in the Weekender / fundraiser are still yet to be caught in the Winter League?
That's a good question.
Obviously, the Weekender has obviously international species on there, so that's obviously blurs that a little bit. I'm trying to think of something that hasn't been caught. Have we ever had a black bream?
I was just about to say bream, black bream in particular.
I'm sure we've had a couch's bream logged in the Winter League before.
I'd be surprised if we haven't, but yeah, black bream. I think that might.
And we had gilts last year.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what we haven't had, which is going to be for this year, almost certainly, is red bream.
That's true.
We didn't have.
Are they still around?
They are still around. Yeah. So quite likely we're going to have a red bream logged for the Winter League. That'll be the first.
Yeah.
And they've definitely been logged in the obviously in the Weekender anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
They weren't really around for the fundraiser, were they? The reds.
No, I don't think we saw them, did we?
No, we didn't. No, they all turned up a bit later than that, didn't they?
They did, and then once they were in, weren't they?
They really were, yeah. And so interesting question actually.
I'm trying to think what else, sort of summary.
I mean, we've done, I think last year, what were we on, 97 species, I think, altogether?
Yeah.
And nearly 100 species over winter is incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, the good thing about this next month is a lot of the summer stuff is still around, isn't it? And that's the time to get them ticked off.
Oh, we've said it. I mean, if you listen to all of our podcasts, you listen to when we've been writing all that sort of stuff, or in our videos, we've always talked about the December been a fantastic month.
Yeah.
For fishing. If the weather's all right, you know.
Yeah.
If you can actually get to the coast, you can get on the river.
Yeah, it's pretty much all still there, isn't it? Apart from the bream, maybe.
Yeah, some places I think you may struggle to get like.
Have we had a Balon's wrasse in the winter?
I said, well, that's probably a good one. Yeah, Balon's.
Cuckoo wrasse?
Cuckoo wrasse we've had in the Winter League.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, we've had quite a couple actually. But yeah, I think there's a few species you could definitely get us over. I think obviously because we're now going into a 3 month instead of 4 month.
Yeah.
We will see a slight decline in the numbers, just through obviously the amount of time that people can invest.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're going to see that much of a drop off.
No, I think people will probably just fish a bit harder, won't they?
They probably will.
Squeeze them in. Maybe freshwater might be impacted a little bit more.
Freshwater will definitely be impacted. I think you've got to make the most of December, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
But obviously we've had a lot of rain recently, a lot of flooding. So I do think that freshwater guys are at a bit of a disadvantage at the moment.
So we might find the numbers knocked back a little bit there. But
yeah. But I mean, speaking of the Winter League, I mean, we've had, as we speak, 210 people, or maybe a little bit more, have signed up, which is a record for this sort of time.
Yeah.
We always get a little boost as well when we put the numbers out, because everyone starts asking.
That's right. Yeah.
To sign up. So yeah, it's amazing, really, what's come on to.
It's great. Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it? And,
lots of new faces.
Yeah, there is a lot of new faces this year. Obviously, some of our regulars have go on to do different things, or maybe take a year off.
Yeah, well, who can blame
have
them?
a breather.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got lots of new faces.
Yeah, I think it's good to see a little bit of rotation as well with new people coming in, and some people just saying I'll probably just watch it from the sidelines this time. You know?
Yeah. And we've got lots of juniors, haven't we, this year?
Lots of juniors, way more than we've ever had.
Yeah. So that's really cool.
It'd be great to see a good. I mean, obviously we always get like people register names and they maybe didn't get round to fishing or something like that, which is fine.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll see a quite a good percentage of those juniors catch at least one fish. That'd be really good.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'll be really happy with that. So moving on to the next questions. So David Ford asked, how do you keep warm? So with lots of layers.
Layers, I was going to say layers.
Layers upon layers, and waterproofs.
Yeah,
waterproof trousers. Yeah, waterproof. Obviously, nice, really quality coats. Recommend that.
Yeah, windproof.
Yeah, a Big Lerf beanie hat.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's essential.
Apparently, they say that is the most important
component. Yeah, absolutely. Any other does not compare.
Apparently.
Which you can find on the Big Lerf Tackle Shop. Little plug. So what else? Gloves, obviously.
Yeah.
Yep. I've recently got some quite expensive gloves. I've got the BKK fingerless gloves,
but they're very fancy.
I know, very fancy, too fancy really, but they're quite expensive. But
how did they hold up today on the first?
There's two actually. So they were out the other night when I was really cold, going for the flounder, and they kept my hands pretty warm.
Good stuff.
Yeah, they're nice material. They don't really get in the way. Because you obviously can get like the neoprene ones and stuff like that, which feel more like wetsuit material.
Yeah, you're a bit more conscious. You're wearing them sort of thing.
Yeah, which also when you're using like ultralight lines and stuff, it can be really clumsy.
Yeah. And
you don't want anything with too much Velcro on.
No.
Because it's a nightmare for braid.
Catching braid all the time.
Yeah. So and obviously when you are cold and you're shivering a little bit, or you're not quite warmed up, like those sort of things really mess with your head.
They do.
And you're trying to catch on stuff, and then you catch on another thing, and
in the dark, freezing cold.
Yeah, so lots of layers. I always go out, and therefore I have talked about this. So I wear 2 pairs of socks when I go out. This is when I'm like going out around the harbour and freezing cold.
Yeah.
2 pairs of socks. I wear some joggers underneath my waterproofs, and I tuck my joggers into my socks. And then I wear a t-shirt, a long sleeve t-shirt, and a hoodie, and then normally a smock and a coat. So it's like 5 layers.
Plenty of layers.
It's a lot, yeah. But it just seems over. But like, I'm so comfortable.
Yeah, well, that's the main thing.
Yeah, when you're comfortable, you think straight, and you're a better angler.
Yeah. It's those little details, isn't it?
I think so. And I've had some really nice sessions where it's been like we were up in Hartlepool.
Yeah.
And we literally all of my clothes were freezing on the outside, but I felt quite snug, to be honest.
Yeah, as you say that.
Yeah, I did obviously feel it towards the end, but
yeah.
I mean, when the sea is freezing in front of you, that's very cold.
Beats the best of us, then, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah.
Apart from Kev,
because he's like there in like short sleeve t-shirts, and that's a different breed up there, isn't they?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the biggest thing you can say is layers. Yeah, anything else you can add on that one?
That's it. No layers. Maybe a hot drink if you can
Oh,
get
hot
one of
drink.
them down
Yeah.
through the
I
night.
always think that with I don't know if people know on the podcast I've ever heard of Age Lundstrom. Age is a bit of a Plymouth LRF legend.
He is, yeah.
And he fishes a lot in this in Mutton Cove in Plymouth. And I always see him, and he's always got a flask of coffee.
Yeah.
And he fishes right into the night, and he catches some amazing fish.
Yeah.
But when everyone's gone home, and he's just fishing out on his own.
Yeah.
And
With his flask.
yeah, his flask, and he just keeps them going throughout the. That's one thing I don't really do.
No. So maybe we need to look into that.
Yeah. I've often relied on the more sort of like carbonated, colder drinks, which are really, really bad for you. So
Yeah. Hand warmers. I've seen a few
hand
people
warmers.
recommend recently as well. I did have a couple of.
I think I took some up to Hartlepool.
Yeah. I did find that they helped, but I just lose them. That's the only.
Yeah, that is hard. Yeah.
But I've seen some people recommend those.
Yeah. So, but layers, maybe hot drinks.
Yeah.
Seems to be the good one.
Yeah. Keep moving.
Lovely. So we got a more Christmas themed one from Lance and Lerfer. So Charlie, do you have any specific species in mind over the Christmas break? Now, will I do much fishing over the Christmas break? That's a question.
Yeah, that is the question.
I don't normally in my job have a Christmas break, but this year I've got some holiday booked off because it's my first Christmas. Well, I had a Christmas with my son last year, but it wasn't. He was very, very young. So
he knows what
this
he's
year,
about a bit more now, doesn't
yeah,
he?
he's a bit more excited about it. So I've got a bit more time off, which I'm looking forward to with my wife
Yeah.
and Rex. So I don't know how much fishing I'll actually get done, but it probably will be like small sort of windows, a bit like my flounder sesh, where just get out for a couple of hours in the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like another flounder. Maybe we've got these and again I could be cursing myself here, but we've just got the Little Jack former cutes in stock on our tackle shop, and these are a little tiny crankbait. I'd fished them a little bit today. Got lovely action, slow sink.
They did look lovely.
Yeah, really nice. And they're quite expensive, but but the action is of a very expensive lure. Really impressive. And I just really want to try and get something cool on them.
Yeah.
Whether it's a flounder, or if it's a gurnard, or I don't know, something. I just feel like they deserve a bit of a proper go in. So I'm envisaging like low tide round the harbour at night, nice and quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
You can turn up something nice in there.
Hopefully,
yeah, that'd be really cool.
That'd be nice, because I think hard lure when it's cold, it's kind of extra cool points.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
all the cool points.
I'd like that. What about you? You're probably getting more than me, I reckon.
I don't know. I looked at my work rota and it's going to be tricky.
Yeah.
I think I'll do more in January, to be honest. But if I do get out, I'll probably want to have a go at the mackerel in Tor Bay, because it's a good time for them.
Oh yeah. On those new nice jigs that we've got.
On those fancy Majorcraft tungsten jigs that we've
just got on the website.
Yeah. I think the mackerel
Would love
deserve to
them.
have a look at those.
They do. Yeah. They're very, very nice. We'll talk about them in a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely December. Yeah, because we had a lovely session there a few years ago, and it was like summer.
Yeah.
And the water was just bubbling with mackerel.
Yeah, it's crazy actually. That I think December, January is probably the best time to fish for mackerel in that part of the world.
Yeah.
Also quite good for wrasse at that time, so
Oh, it is.
maybe mix it
That's
up.
too. Yeah. Well, you definitely love a turbo wrasse session, don't you?
Yeah. And I'm keen to get up for a Zander at some point through the winter as well. It's sort of been an annual little trip for the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I can I'd like to do that.
Yeah, try and squeeze that in at some point.
Yeah, definitely. I've only ever caught one. I really want to get another.
Yeah.
Definitely lost a couple last time I fished that canal.
Yes. Yeah. I remember now.
That was me just not striking hard enough. They've got very hard mouths, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's my inexperience with the species. I think showing on those ones.
Yeah, I'd obviously been had the pleasure of fishing with Matt Barnsley when I've gone up there. And,
he knows his
watching
stuff.
him set the hook. You sort of you do realise that you got to give him a bit, sort of make sure that hook sticks.
Definitely. Yeah, love a Zander. Yeah, very much. One I would love to. If I lived close to like the Midlands, those sort of areas, I would go for them all the time. I think.
Yeah, definitely. They're a very cool species, aren't they?
Vampire fish.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I think Christmas break, that's pretty much, not really, can't think of anything else that will happen over that, really. Just trying to fish where you can. I think obviously for anybody else, when you're during that Christmas break, some people get a lot of fishing done, some people don't get anything done.
Yeah.
It's, I think with the Winter League there will be.
Expect the herring to turn up around then as well.
Herring and pilchards, yeah.
Yeah.
So just after Christmas tend to be in around Cornwall and Devon.
Yeah.
Big shoals of pilchards. Get some incredible numbers of fish, which I've probably spoken about before.
Yeah.
But yeah, amazing. I think finally, we're going to have notes, and we've got a few more actually. So Bill Seeger, he says, I'm interested in the microfishing tactics for the Winter League. I'd love to see the smallest free perch total as an alternative to the longest three. That's another category for the future. We couldn't add another category, Bill. Also that'd be really hard to do, I think.
Yeah.
Smallest three. But I think the microfishing side though is really interesting, because when we were talking to Donnie today about like the 9-spine sticklebacks, and the microfishing really has been like such a massive boom to the species count.
Yeah, it has, hasn't it? It's sort of in terms of picking up those interesting, micro species like those, and the stone loaches, and
stone bullheads,
and then all the little gobies and things in the saltwater. It's an important tool to the species hunter if you're serious about.
If you want to do that sort of side of things. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but I say it's more popular than people think.
And
I think it gets people really interested. I think people see these sort of things and think, oh, that's something I could try, and it is quite easy access as well, because obviously like microfish kind of exist anywhere, from like little ditches and or right in like rock pools and stuff like that. So it's kind of like it is in front of you and does bring that sort of big kid energy to it.
Definitely.
So I think I always enjoy seeing that the sort of mental micro species that come out during like our competitions, whether that's the Winter League weekend or a fundraiser. And that's why we have prizes like smallest fish for like the fundraiser, because it just adds a little bit of that challenge to it.
It's an interesting little sort of offshoot, isn't it?
It is. I really enjoy that. So last two questions we've got. So it's Carl Doble, I think he's put DBL on his I think it's Carl Doble. Best tactics / conditions to target sand eel in the winter months? That's a good question.
It is. I don't think I see many sand eels in the winter. I
think so. You don't. No, you don't tend to. Though in the Winter League we have had those times where the Corbins sand eel have turned up, places like Mevagissey, in quite big numbers.
That is true.
So for those, it's sort of skinny metals, I think. So slim, like the jig para slims. In the sort of 3 gram, maybe 5 gram max size, I would say.
The lighter weights.
Or the flatline, the Savage Gear flatlines are very good for that as well.
Fished higher up in the water, would you say?
Yeah, I think, fish higher up in the water, not too high. But I think just a bit of energy. You want sort of a lot of flutters going up and down. You want to give them a chance to sort of chase it. And I think you need to get, in my experience, sand eels, you need to get like them fired up and chasing. They're very fast, very, very fast, and they will surprise you on how quickly they can chase a lure down. Because we had that session, I don't know if it's quite winter.
Is the one outside Falmouth? I think that was April,
so it was just going into spring, but we had that was quite good sport really.
It was, we had a good session.
That was Corbin's, and I had one launch, I think.
That's right, well, actually this year I think we had quite good sport with sand eel around the same time of year off the rocks.
Where was that? Yes, of course, that was good. There was loads of them around.
It was. We went racing, didn't we?
We did. I noticed there was just lots of sand eel around. So I think they definitely turn up maybe towards the end of winter more than that, because those early bass are on them, aren't they?
That's
they always say that the early bass are on the sand eel. So I think the skinny metals. I mean, you could get them on soft plastic. You had one on
Crazy Flapper.
The Crazy Flapper, which is madness.
I mean, those sand eels were extremely aggressive, though, weren't they?
They were having everything, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. But I think if like location-wise, you'd get off the rocks, wouldn't you, or off the end of a breakwater,
or
end of a harbour, sort of fish into a bit of deeper water, maybe.
I think so. I think it's I think any sort of sandy areas. My experience of sand eels tend to be that the obvious places they tend to be. It's the over sand clean ground. They tend to be that session we were talking about there was kind of an outlier of that, because that was over rocks, but I think it was a few sandy gullies going into that.
Yeah.
And I think sand eel, particularly the larger species, like to eat other sand eel.
Yeah, I think they certainly were, weren't they?
Yeah, the lesser sand eel get eaten by everything.
Yeah, we saw it at Meva as well, didn't we?
We did.
Noughts coming in and hitting the shoals of...
Almost certainly, yeah. The biggest predator of sand eels tends to be the bigger sand eels, which is mad. But I mean, they are separate species. I mean, we've there's more than 3, but the 3 main ones we see are the lesser, the corbins, and the launts.
Yeah.
The launts and the corbins being quite big, like garfish size.
Yeah, they are. It's surprising how big they get, isn't it?
Yeah, I really like it. But especially when the fishing is tough in April.
Yeah, they're very welcome addition, aren't they?
Yeah, but so I don't know if that really helps you for the winter, but so certainly early spring.
Yeah.
That'll help hopefully. And last one, Jordan Jones asks, is there a way to trigger the mullet, feed, or agitate them in the way they'll hit the lure/item? I've tried a few methods with little luck. What a question, because they are mullet. Have you had a large mullet on?
I haven't. They've all been sort of, well, you know the size.
Yeah, little tiny ones. Yeah.
I've had some near misses.
Yeah.
Where I think particularly at Weymouth, where I've had them chasing and nipping.
Yeah.
But never managed to hook and land one.
Okay.
My only thought would be if you find a shoal and get them competing.
Yeah.
But I think you probably had more success than me.
I've had more success. I've had a bit of luck. Yeah. I'm trying to think of the ones I've caught on LRF tackle that have been. So the best luck I had was taking advantage of, and I don't know if I've mentioned it before on this pod, was I was fishing in the harbour in Plymouth, and I was there in the morning, and there was a chap fishing who was trying to, he's actually trying to snag and foul hook the mullet.
Oh God!
And it was pretty brutal. I mean, he wasn't from this country. He was, so I think he was just trying to catch food, just
fishing for the table. Yeah.
Exactly. I told him that you shouldn't eat anything from that harbour, but again, there was a bit of a language barrier there.
Yeah.
And anyway, what I did notice though is that every time he struck, he had bread on little trebles.
Yeah.
The bread would come off the hook, and the mullet would dive in on the bits that were falling down. They weren't stupid. They were kind of they wouldn't get snagged. They would just tease him a little bit till he struck, and then it would all come off and be free helpings.
Yeah.
So I put on my lightest jigger that I had, was like a 0.4 or 0.6 Eco Gear Shirazu jig head with a white bit of ice and like a little square of it.
Okay.
And so it just looked like a bit of fallen bread.
Yeah.
And I just chucked that as he did it, and they took it immediately.
It
was without even. It's like the best hit I've ever had from a mullet. I did it twice with him in two consecutive days.
Really?
Yeah, he was livid with me the second day. And what was crazy about it is the second one was 42, 43 centimetres.
Good fish.
Quite a good fish, yeah. But the whole shoal followed it.
Really?
So it looked like I was fighting the whole shoal. And obviously anyone who's hooked a mullet knows how strong they are. They are incredible fighters.
Yeah.
There's not really anything that fights like a mullet, I don't think. For just consistent, they just do not stop.
Dogged.
Yeah, and they so that was quite a sight. And
I could imagine.
Yeah, I did spook the whole shoal, unfortunately, for him. Which I didn't feel that bad about, because he was obviously trying to snag him.
Yeah. Opportunistic fishing.
Yeah, so I think with mullet, also I have had a fin lip on spinner as well, with a bit of gulp.
Yeah, I was going to say a friend of mine I don't know if he still does it, but had a lot of success in Weymouth fishing and MEPS with a trailing single.
Yes.
And a bit of gulp on the end. He was quite.
Yeah, whether you can do that in winter is a harder one, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're definitely around. I think it's just sometimes a bit of luck. Mullet are so strange. I found them you hear about it, and do you remember Steve Dennis in the CLF?
Yeah.
He had 2 in a row, didn't he?
2 in a row, yeah.
On drop shotted item.
Yeah.
And there's no he bless him. He said he had there was no real artistry to that. It was just pure luck.
Yeah. Well,
and it's just funny how it goes, isn't it? Yeah. He just cast to him and they took it. And how many times do you cast a mullet? So,
yeah. A lot of hours wasted.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing I can say for mullet is try and find them when they're feeding on larger prey items. So when you see them going around and they're kind of grazing on a bit of rope or a pontoon or something, you're very unlikely to catch them then, because they're kind of sucking the algae off the.
I have heard that people though have in those instances drop in a free lining like a tiny bit of green isomi into almost into the path.
I've seen Will Pender try that a few times in front of me and not succeed.
Yeah.
I know he has succeeded with that before.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, that's
it's like potentially they would do that. I guess it's just having the right thing at the right time, isn't it? I think you'd have to wait on like a pontoon for ages for them to come along.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be a hard day's fishing, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's times when because sometimes mullet will hit like big like sand eel lures and things like that. And
yeah.
It's just that if there's a feeding frenzy going on, you may be able to get that if you're lucky.
Yeah, right place, right time.
Yeah. But unfortunately, there's not much I can. Yes, my only reference for that. Unfortunately, I wish I could help more because I'd do it myself.
Yeah, I'd love to know how to master the art of catching mullet as well. To be honest,
definitely a few have had some great luck.
Yeah,
but it's But I think we'll probably just finish up this pod really with sort of. I wanted on the theme of like Christmas, trying to be all whimsical in that way. I thought we'd just try and talk about. I wanted to ask you, what is your favourite fishing gift you've ever received?
Oh, fishing gift. I guess I could say, and it's not strictly fishing related, is the first GoPro.
Okay.
I was bought, because that's what sparked my YouTube channel.
Oh, nice. How long ago was that?
I think my first fishing video was 2015.
Okay.
So obviously that's brought a lot of.
Yes, that's 10 years. From us next year.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah.
Are you going to have a celebratory 10-year video?
I don't think so.
With all the highlights of your 10 years.
No, I just let people can just go back from my back.
That's fair. Yeah, that's really not your style, is it? That's cool. I didn't know that was a Christmas present.
Yeah, because I remember thinking, I don't really know what to do with this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how it all started.
Interesting. Yeah, because that's how I got to know you. Really, was that you were doing these videos. So
yeah.
Isn't it interesting? All these sort of things go back. It's just like a Christmas present started that.
Yeah.
And now we're here.
Here we are.
Yeah, mad.
How about you?
For me, Christmas present. I remember there's two really that come to mind. My dad got me for Christmas my first pike fishing like rod.
Okay.
He got me a dead baiting rod.
Yeah.
Back when I was I would have been like 12, I think, 13, and I caught a couple of 10-pound pike on that.
Nice.
And that really that was a bit of a
lit a fire for you.
Yeah, and I think I don't know if it was my following birthday. I think so. I got into like lure fishing. He got me this like maybe like a 6 or 7 foot like. It was quite good. I think it's quite a decent like lure fishing rod. It was a lot more sort of faster action, and not that I knew what that was back then. Looking back on it, and I fished a lot with lures then. And again, that was kind of the start of my journey. That's led me here.
Yeah.
So those definitely come to mind from my dad, but also first Christmas I had with Abby, my wife. She got me the Daiwa Gecko Bajin, or if you pronounce it, 10-gram rated tubular rod.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I think under the guidance of yourself. Actually.
Oh yeah, I remember that well. Actually.
Yeah, she asked you. I think I'd never had a fishing rod gifted to me by a partner before.
So that was a big.
So I think that was a bit like,
deal.
oh yeah, I'm probably going to marry her.
Yeah.
You know. So
naturally, yeah.
Yeah, and now obviously we got a child together, so clearly it was the right thing, you know. So
yeah.
Yeah, so those definitely come to mind. I think it's
That's cool.
Yeah, it's nice. I think Christmas has always been. It's obviously for each family it's different, and obviously what your experiences of it is and stuff. But with fishing, I think it's there's always a good opportunity to get the things that you sometimes get some really naff gifts from family that you would get like I've got one of the singing Billy Bass.
Yes.
That was given to me in like a stocking or something once. So yeah, you get socks and
I got some fish slippers knocking around somewhere.
Exactly, yeah, it's all that sort of stuff. But it's nice that I guess with anglers we are at least people know that anything fish related we're probably going to appreciate.
It's going to be a win, yeah, definitely.
And I guess also finally we could sort of talk about not to do with presents or anything, but more to do with like memories. So what would be your, we're going to say like what top fishing memories? Yeah, I'll give you can have a couple.
All right.
Yeah, but anything comes to mind. If I say like what's your favourite fishing memory, what would it be?
Ever?
It's really anything. Doesn't have to be ever because it's too much pressure.
Yeah.
But for something that comes to your mind, what's a really good fishing memory for you?
I'm
putting you on the spot.
You are. I guess linked to what we've spoken about winter mackerel and things. And it was around Christmas time. My first sort of bash at Brixham, when I realised that there was a lot of mackerel around at that time of year.
Okay, yeah.
And I was chucking little soft plastics around, and
How long ago are we talking here?
I think that might have been 2015, 2016.
Yes, this is right at the start of your sort of journey.
Yeah, and I think I had a new reel for Christmas that I wanted to try out. I might be wrong with my years here, but it was the first time I realised, like, I sort of found those mackerel, and yeah, I loved it. You know, I had a few hours of screaming reel and playing around with various lures. And
It's
sort
so
of been lit
satisfying,
a fire myself then.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's always stuck in my mind.
Yeah, I can see that. I think that's just made me think about of the first time I'd heard of mackerel feeding frenzies.
Yeah.
But I'd never seen it.
Yeah.
And I remember 2016 was a really big year for mackerel. They were everywhere.
Yeah.
And that was incredible. I'd never seen anything like it from the shore anyway. You know, it's just
a dramatic sight sort of thing.
Oh, incredible! That was just like I was at Mountbatten, and yeah, and obviously we heard that mackerel were in or something like that, or maybe I think we just gone on. Maybe I don't know if I was with Robbie, my mate Robbie, and I don't even know if we knew that there was going to be loads of mackerel down there. But we went down there, and it was just the water was alive. It was just what it's like.
Yeah.
It's like the mackerel are just pushing the bait fish up against the rocks.
Water's boiling.
Everyone's going crazy, and like they're just obviously the word's getting around that everyone's heading down to Mountbatten. Like it was like
an event in itself, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like a festival.
Yeah.
You know, but obviously we're good and bad. Obviously you got a lot of people who are very, very, enthusiastic.
Some
and
health and safety.
Health and safety. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you got weights flying around everywhere, but lots of hooks. But incredible. That's I think mackerel are definitely one of those fish that provide a lot of excitement when they're when they're in, regardless of how many times you caught them.
Yeah, they still a brilliant sport fish, aren't they?
Yeah. Try to think. So, if I could say a non-LRF memory.
Okay.
So, this could be like from ages ago, or it could be from more recent. If you could say, not before you got into LRF, before you do any of that, what would you say be a good fishing memory for you?
I got lots of vague memories from when I was younger.
Yeah.
When I lived in Minot actually. My mate used to fish. They call it the dyke around Butlins.
Okay.
I don't think it's what it used to be now, but it was full of like rudd, roach. But I remember when we hooked a carp for the first time, and it was only about £4.
Yeah.
But we didn't even know what it was, and we sort of netted this thing, was screaming and shouting, and I remember a woman walking a dog sort of coming out and looking and said, "Oh, that's a carp." But I just still in my mind how exciting and like wild that moment was at the time.
Yeah.
And the same, I caught a tension there, and again freaked out, didn't know what to do with the thing.
Oh, tension, beautiful fish.
Yeah, someone helped me out, but yeah, early memories like that of like when you don't really know how your species like we do now.
No,
like,
true.
There's so many surprises, isn't there? Like firsts.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
Oh, quite a few actually. I've got quite a lot of like. I remember. Yeah, one thing that really does stick out to me is which provided a lot of inspiration for me later on. Fishing with my brothers. So my brother Ollie, obviously he's featured heavily in my posts and helped us out on our events and stuff.
Yeah.
The reason I fish is because of his dad. I've probably mentioned it a few times before. Wayne, and so Wayne was my stepdad, and he took me down. And I was a little bit older. I'd been fishing in. I was living in Norfolk. Got really into my fishing. And I came down to Plymouth to stay with my brother.
Yeah.
And Wayne took me out. It's just me and him. I don't know what was going on, why it was just me and him. But and he took me down to the South Hams, similar to where we were the other day recording the podcast. And using a hardback crab as brass bait.
Oh, okay.
And oh my god, what an eye opener that was! And he pulled out like a stonker of this huge, obviously probably about 2.5 pound, but it looked absolutely like the ones I'd seen before were like little tiddlers on the quay, and to see that come out, and then we were dropping them down the side of this gully, and they were just savaging these. Like you would just come up, if you missed the bite, it would just be the half the shell coming up. You just think, you just would never believe that a fish that like with that blunt teeth could do that much damage. And I think having that raw power, and knowing that you really had to haul them out and had this big like heavy I think I was using my pike tackle, which was quite suitable actually. It was sort of £20 line, quite heavy rod, 2.5 pound test curve, I think. So like quite perfect for
definitely
for bait fishing for him. And I remember just sort of flicking out to like the gullies and stuff, and just getting that really savage bang bang, and striking into that. And
exciting fishing.
Yeah, that's it. And that's before like lure fishing with wrasse was even a thing. That was way before. You know? So, that was really, again, I think back on that very fondly. And Wayne's no longer with us, and that's a real special memory for me.
Yeah, I bet. Sounds like it.
So I really enjoyed it. I mean, there's so much you could think about and reminisce about. And,
I was thinking about the first CLF we fished. That night on the Scad.
Oh, what a night!
Just the moment arriving and seeing that Christ, there's a lot of activity here. What is it, first of all? And
yes.
That was my first experience.
Have you never experienced like Scad feeding frenzy before?
I think I'd only caught one Scad before that.
Yeah.
And they were just feeding so hard, weren't they? And
we got down. So we got down to this mark in Foy, and it was low tide, and we got down onto like a beach where we could cast into this channel, and it was just under the light they were just going nuts. It was just splash the whole constantly.
And it sort of amongst them were obviously mackerel and the odd bass. And it was just
I think for us, because we hadn't done a CLF before, and it was just like we were a bit like nervous because we really wanted to do well, and we didn't really know what we were kind of doing in regards to like the best places to go,
finding our feet, weren't we?
Trying to compete with the likes of Will Pender and everyone else is on that, and it's quite obviously prestigious competition as well. And to have that, I think I had to pull you away from that.
You did, because I was just I would have stayed there all night, I think. Captain Scad, and you reminded me, thankfully,
that we do have to catch another species.
We're on a species hunt here, Rich.
But it was special. That's a really
that's always stuck in my head.
I think we've had some good times together, haven't we? We've had some really good sessions, very fun. I mean, the Scad always make up a really good percentage of that.
Or throwing metals from breakwaters, or to
be fair, I think back on that. What was it? Was it last year or year before? I think it was last year, wasn't it? When we had a session at Brixham and the garfish and bass. You had quite a nice bass.
Yes, because we started off on the other side, didn't we? We messed around with jig heads and soft plastics. So we just ordered a load of samples to mess around with.
That was a really good session. I had a really enjoyable time doing that.
And
then obviously the garfish off the end of the breakwater. That was really good fun.
Really good day that.
So it's just
they sort of all come back to you, these sessions now, in sort of little flashbacks, don't they?
They do.
There was that time and that time.
Which I quite like about. I've got real big reservations about Facebook and things. That really annoys me I think it's only getting worse as a platform. But I do like the memories function.
Yes.
Of it coming back up and going, this is what I was doing last year. That was fun. Or God, the weather was awful. Whatever. There's so many things to think about.
Yeah, they are nice little reminders, aren't they?
They really are. But I think on that sort of nice whimsical note of and we wish you guys a Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Merry
Christmas all.
Hope you get all the tackle that you want to get. And hope you obviously drink and eat lots of nice food, and and do really well in the Winter League. We can't wait to see what you guys catch. But so until next time, we'll speak to you soon.
Cheers,
bye. The Big Lerf Podcast, talking LRF and more.